The multiverse used to be this guilty little pleasure that it had. You know, that every once in a while you would get a little glimpse of how this hero or how this person would have an alternate life, an alternate reality, how they would have been, what would have happened. Maybe they were evil, maybe they were good, maybe they were something. You know, it was something to look at and be like, well, this is a possibility out there in the multiverse. Okay. It was something done few and far between, and that's what made it special. But Marvel and DC have completely and utterly ruined the multiverse. Absolutely ruined it. They use it as an excuse for every awful thing that they do, everything that they create, everything that they put together. They act like, well, this is just supposed to be part of the multiverse, so it's okay. It's not. It's terrible, and it's just done horrendously. And in this episode of My Adventures with Superman, we enter the LoisVerse. And yes, it is as terrible as it sounds. Let me get into how, once again, they've managed to ruin yet another episode of this show. So the episode starts off with Clark showing Lois and Jimmy his spaceship because, of course, now that everybody's in on it, they all need to know. While Jimmy is fooling around with the obelisks, Clark is revealing to Lois that he knows absolutely nothing about his origin and apparently has no intention to actually try to find out anything about it. So they do so they float a bit, and then he asks her out on a date. Okay, once again, you're not 12. That should have happened long before, but whatever. Okay, they're making some progress. So they're on it. Clark is obsessing over, the upcoming date and trying to put everything in place for it. Lois is obsessing over the date and also obsessing over the fact that she wants to find out about Clark's origin and tell him about it as a gift. It would have been kind of cute if one of them were obsessing about it, but when it's both of them, it just kind of doesn't seem very relatable at all. So while Jimmy goes to see Lois and she's freaking out, Clark is there, and then he gets interrupted by Mr. Mixelblick. If I hope I'm pronouncing him correct, I always get it wrong, but still, yeah. And he tells him that Lois is in danger before he shows him different multiverse versions of Superman. One from the Superman animated series, and one that's a crab. But when he shows him something showing that Lois is in danger, she's been kidnapped, Superman is ready to assist it. This episode really shows what a bonehead Superman is and how badly they have screwed up Mixie. Let's use the term Mixie from now on. The fact of the matter is, people will say, well, no, it's a different version of him, all kind of thing. The whole interesting thing about Superman and Mixie and their interaction is that Superman actually had to use his intelligence to deal with him. That was it. In the animated series, and I was not a big fan of the animated series. Yes, we did get live wire and stuff from it, but I wasn't a big fan of it because, the creators actually did admit that they intentionally made Superman weaker in that, and I was like, nah, that's ridiculous. But what I will say in regards to his encounter with Mixie is that he had to use his intelligence to get him to say his name or spell it out and that thing. So you actually got a look at Superman using his brain to do so. You don't get that here, but that's just kind of par for the course. So when he and Mixie go off to help Lois, meanwhile, Lois and Jimmy are running to she just picked up a dress and they're running to go and get ready for the date and run into a dead-end alley because apparently that's a shortcut. So a portal opens up. And who do they meet? Listen to this nonsense. The Multiversal League of Lois Lanes, right? You have one Lois Lane that looks butch as hell and is probably most likely a lesbian. You have one Lois Lane who is some kind of authoritarian, I'm in charge power woman who's probably a lesbian. And then you have Lois Lane, who is a gender-bent version of Lois Lane that's probably gay. And just because you need to go all in on this, they have their version of Jimmy, right? But this Jimmy is not only black, also gender bent, right? Yeah, this Jimmy is gender bent, and her name is Jelana. Because let's keep going down that route. And what do these League of Lois Lanes do? Well, apparently, their job is to protect and guard the multiverse. Ever since the first Lois Lane started it up, they're all doing that. They're protecting the multiverse from all kind of threats and all sort of stuff. That had to be by far one of the dumbest things I have seen this show do, and it does a lot of stupid things. Who in God's name would appoint Lois Lane or Lois Lane counterpart to protect the multiverse? That's like saying the Earth is being invaded by aliens. Go call the Girl Scouts so they could deal with it. What in God's name is she gonna do? I mean, this is a stupid idea, yes, but had they put it something like maybe, she is the chronicler of the multiverse and there are different versions of her, and each one of them have a job to record what happens in the multiverse, and they store it away so they have all this knowledge and thing there, because an investigative report that it could make a little bit of sense. But no, you have them out there like they are full-on badasses to protect the multiverse for what I don't know. And of course, they had to take time to show that the Lois Lane in this series, my with Superman, is a loser. Because all the other Lois Lanes and them are award-winning reporters and stuff. One actually won a Pulitzer when she was 21. This Lois is 23 and hasn't done anything because, like I said before, she's not actually a reporter. She just barrels her way through everything. You understand me? Lying to your friends, doing whatever. You don't act like a reporter to do anything. But this is the problem when it comes to this series. They don't want her to be a reporter. They want her to be the star of this show. She will be better than Superman, better than this focal point of that. And when you do that and you take away from what makes Lois Lane, you end up with a problem like this. So these Lois Lanes are there, and they came to recruit this Lois Lane and Jimmy in order to help them find Mixie, because he's some kind of chaos god, and they need to lock him back up or something because they managed to take some of his power away, and he wants to get it back, right? And of course, they have some big secret that they're not telling her, and they keep talking about stopping Mixie and stopping the Clark. So these so-called Lois Lanes, who are League of Lois Lanes and protectors of the multiverse, are on a bunch of butch Superman-hating sycophants. Yeah, that makes sense. So Mixie tricks Superman into going and breaking into the League's headquarters on Earth 1, because that's important as well. And you get to see again that Clark is just a moron. That's it, you're a bonehead. You didn't ask a question. You didn't think something was off about any of this. No, you just did it because he tricked you into that. And then of course, Mixie reveals to him that he's from planet Krypton. This show is just, rather than having Superman discover his identity, discover what it is about him and getting things unknown, you're just dropping clues here, there, and everywhere, because everybody is supposed to be too stupid to put it together unless somebody literally walks them through to it. Whatever. So while on board the ship, Lois sneaks into some room that they have off limits and finds some redacted file X. And when they do eventually meet up with Clark and Mixie, the Superman hating Loises come out with kryptonite guns and shoot him with it. And then you see this kryptonite that's to spread through his body like some kind of green vision, some kind of crystalline things that form on his skin. And then Mixie steals their ship because, of course, that's what happens. And Lois is on there, so they travel to Earth 1. And while she actually retrieves the file X that they had hidden, Mixie gets his hat back. Literal hat, like what Mr. Mixelpick has in the comics. He gets his hat back and it turns some kind of crown-like thing, and that gives him his full strength. Really stupid. And he starts to destroy things and all sorts of stuff, and Superman and the rest of them show up there. They try to stop it. He and Lois finally kiss, and everybody's like, okay, great, that finally happened. It only took 7 episodes, but all right. So while they're doing that now, Lois comes up with a plan to have Superman distract him, and then she steals his hat back, and the other Loises and them lock him up. When they're looking for the other people from, the one from Earth 12, because that's the Earth that they are from here with this, they can't find them, and apparently Jimmy's counterpart secretly send them back to their Earth or something. So okay, great for she. And Clark and Lois decide to finish their date. All right, they finish their date. Everybody's happy and all of that. Lois ends up coming back to her apartment. She's all happy. When she looks to want to know how to file X and all of this, Mixie shows up. The file opens up, and she gets to find out now that there are evil alternate versions of Superman in different universes. And inside of the file, there's a sample of a green crystal, which is Kryptonite. That's the same thing that the illegal Loises used to injure Superman. So now she has that. This whole multiverse thing with there being evil versions of Superman and everybody acting like, well, this is somehow something to me really shocking. Why? If you're going to tell me there are multiple versions of different realities, then of course there are going to be some evil versions of him. That doesn't mean he's evil or he's going to get evil. I mean, come on, there was like the literal crime syndicate. Understand me? An entire world where all the members of the Justice League are heartless criminals. And nobody ever says to themselves, you know what? Batman needs to be watched because why? There's an evil version of him out there. Or Wonder Woman needs to be watched because there's an evil version of her out there. But no, it's always Superman. I was looking at to find some reason to do that. Even in the comics, always trying to make Superman evil for somebody to say, well, okay, this making sense. Superman is one of the few people I think would ever be the last person, or probably never, to go evil. I could see Batman do it in a heartbeat, but the rest of them, come on. So this whole thing which I tried to play off this thing like Superman is evil in all these different alternate versions, so everybody needs to be wary of him because he could suddenly change and cut it. The man has done nothing that can go. But no, so now she has the Kryptonite, and we all know how this is going to play off, because if in the event that the general really does turn out to be her father, and this kind of leading up to that, this could play out in a way that, we all kind of see coming one point or another. But once again, it's another terrible episode. Why in God's name would anybody have a League of Lois Lanes protecting the multiverse? What the hell are they going to do? And they're all a bunch of butch, possibly gay, Superman hating sycophants. Why? Why? Because it have a couple evil versions of Superman out there, you must treat everyone like it's a threat. Nobody needs to stop thinking, maybe these group of Lois lunatics are the real threat. Yes, but that's somehow supposed to be understandable. Plus, what they did with Mixie is just ridiculous. The fact that he was a fifth-dimensional imp who used to terrorize Superman because he just wanted to meet, and Superman actually had to use his brain to deal with him, was what made their whole relationship good. But no, you've turned him now into just another freaking joke and shown that Superman is just another bonehead. And once again, Lois Lane has to put together everything and do it because, this whole legal Lois show that across the multiverse, Lois is just the bestest ever. And this version is a loser. Like, you all keep doing these things to the things that you keep creating. You threw in this multiverse nonsense because you literally needed to. I knew they were going to do it because this is not surprising at all, but they just keep messing up every shit thing when it comes to this show. Once again, the only reason, we'll put it this way. You see this episode of Superman with Lois, Superman and Superman, My Adventures with Superman. I'm calling it My Adventures with Superman. I can't realize what the hell the show is anymore, but My Adventures with Superman, I will give this episode a 1 out of 5. And the only reason we'll give it a 1 out of 5 is because we finally get a little bit of progress in the relationship between Superman and Lois, which is, what should I say, Clark and Lois have been dragging along for too damn long. But other than that, the rest of this episode was just crap. Absolute and utter crap. And then there's leading up to more crap to finish up with even more crap. That's it. Just keep destroying anything that could have been good about this series. You know your thoughts on this in the comments. Have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, try to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. And if I ever put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.